What's going on, YouTube? So today we have another NBA trade rumor video, and today we're going to focus on Demar Derozan. Now, if this is your first time here and you like NBA or NBA related content, please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. So the Spurs are in a little bit of a youth movement. They have a lot of young players, Bryn Forbes, DeJounte Murray, Derek White, but then they also have Demar Derozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, the Spurs could compete for a playoff spot. I think they're 8th in the West as of yesterday, or 2 days ago for you guys. But they're really not going to compete for a championship. In the first round, they're going to have to play either the Lakers, the Nuggets if they get to 7, or maybe Clippers or Rockets if they get to 6. But they're most likely not beating any of those 3 teams. Most likely just going to be a waste of a season. So what the Spurs should do is rebuild. Now, the best way to rebuild for them is trading DeMar DeRozan or LaMarcus Aldridge for young players or picks. So, unfortunately, today we don't have a Bleacher Report article, but we do have one of these articles. So we're just going to talk about the trades that they have here. Starting off with the Detroit Pistons. Now, the Spurs would get Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, Thon Maker, a future first, and a future second for DeMar DeRozan. Now, this is a pretty good trade. Reggie Jackson, I know, is an expiring contract. Luke Kennard is a very young asset who's shown a lot of improvement. I think it's his 2nd year now. I could be wrong. It might be 3rd, but I'm pretty sure it's 2nd. Who's shown a lot of improvement. And Thon Maker, like, kind of just a throw-in at this point. But that future first-round pick from Detroit and a 2nd-round pick from Detroit, they're both pretty good. And you get to relieve that DeMar DeRozan contract. So this would probably be a really good scenario for the Spurs. Get a couple of young players in Luke Kennard, Thon Maker, and some picks and cap relief from Reggie Jackson. Now, the Pistons, on the other hand, I don't know why they would do this deal unless they feel like they could compete now with Drummond. But Blake is out for the season, so this might not make as much sense for the Pistons as it would for the Spurs. But the Pistons do want to blow it up too, so maybe they just want to bring in a future star to build around all over again, which being DeMar DeRozan. Next up, we have the Magic. Now, this trade is Aaron Gordon and Mo Bamba for DeMar DeRozan and Bryn Forbes. Now, this is a great trade, I think, for both teams. So, Aaron Gordon's been having a pretty disappointing season. He's down like 5 points a game in scoring. Now, I just think he needs a change in scenery to thrive again. And on a younger team, on the Spurs, well, that's if they trade DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. A younger team on the Spurs, Aaron Gordon would have the offense run through him again. They would get to play Mo Bamba, who's barely getting any minutes on the Magic behind Nikola Vucevic. And then the Magic also get DeMar DeRozan and Bryn Forbes. So they get some shooting with Bryn Forbes, and they get a whole lot of scoring with DeMar DeRozan. Now, a backcourt of DeRozan and Fultz, that might not be the best combination, but the Magic need a lot of scoring. They're in the bottom 5 or 10 in scoring, and DeMar DeRozan would give them that extra punch that they need. Now we have San Antonio and the Hornets. DeMar DeRozan for Marvin Williams, Malik Monk, PJ Washington, and a lottery-protected future first round. Now, this is probably the silliest of them all. I don't think the Hornets will trade PJ Washington, especially for DeMar DeRozan. They have Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier, both of whom are probably going to be there for a little bit of time. At least they get rid of Marvin Williams' contract, and they have Malik Monk, who really hasn't worked out for them, but is also a young player. So maybe the Hornets would do this again, just like Detroit, if they want to bring in a star to pull in other stars in free agency. But letting go of PJ Washington is really big for the Hornets, and that might not be worth it for them in the long run, but that's probably what makes it enticing for the Spurs at the same time. Now we have a trip back to Toronto, Serge Ibaka and Norman Powell, and 2 future first-round picks for DeMar DeRozan. Now, this way you're playing a lineup of Van Fleet, Lowry, DeRozan, Siakam, and Marc Gasol, and you lose out on Ibaka, and you lose out on Norman Powell. That's pretty bad for the Raptors, I would say. They do get a big scoring punch with DeMar DeRozan, but they lose out on their 6th and 7th man, and they pull OG Anunoby, I'm not sure how to say it, down to their 6th man, and he's not the craziest offensive weapon, unless they plan on bringing Van Fleet off the bench again, which they probably would do if they got DeRozan. then it might work out. Now, the only way the Raptors would do this is if they want to go for the championship as well. But I'm not sure. Well, they probably do want to go for the championship, so that's probably why they would do it. Next up, we have the Knicks. Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, Wayne Ellington, Taj Gibson for DeMar DeRozan and Lonnie Walker. Now, this would give the Knicks a star in DeMar DeRozan and a young player in Lonnie Walker. I actually really like Lonnie Walker. And now the Spurs would get young players in Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, and vets in Taj Gibson and Wayne Ellington that have team-friendly contracts that they could just waive next season. So this makes sense for both teams, I would think. I just don't think. I think DeMar DeRozan fitting next to RJ Barrett might be a little bit of a redundancy there. RJ Barrett is much younger and they have similar play styles, so that might hurt RJ Barrett's growth at least. And maybe Greg Popovich can be able to use Frank Ntilikina and Kevin Knox in a way that the Knicks couldn't do. You guys all know how much I hate how the Knicks handle their younger players and everything like that. That's all for this trade, for DeMar DeRozan trades. One trade that I saw that was pretty interesting was DeMar DeRozan to the Heat, pairing him up with Jimmy Butler. Now, that would be pretty interesting, but then you'd have Duncan Robinson, who's doing really good for them, either come off the bench or slide to power forward, and that would pretty give them an undersized power forward while Bam plays their center. So it could work out, but it could also hurt them. The Heat have a very, very good thing going for them, and I believe they need like a stretch 4 or a stretch 5 instead of another wing player. I think they're pretty good on wing players. Now, the trade that works best for DeMar DeRozan, I would have to say, is definitely the Orlando Magic. He's going to just get to dominate by himself there. Well, not by himself. He has Vucevic, but dominate mostly on the perimeter, and that's going to really help him out. And contending-wise, the best chance for him is going back to Toronto. The best package for the Spurs is probably the Detroit Pistons one. They get Luke Kennard and young other players. I think it was Reggie Jackson's expiring and a couple of picks. That's probably the best package for the Spurs. But for DeRozan, I think he's better off going either Toronto or the Magic. That's all for this video. Now, we covered a couple of players. We still have so many more to go. Trade deadline's only 2 weeks away. I still want to do D'Lo, Rocco, I did Kuzma, Bogdanovic, a lot of players, and not all of them have Bleacher Report articles, so maybe next time I'll just find one random article online and just talk about it just like I did now. And again, if you guys are enjoying this content, just please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. See you soon.